A few months ago, I made some ACEOs. Little art trading cards, original paintings or prints. 2.5 by 3.5 inches. Designed to be sold and collected and traded. And I had quite a bit of fun making them, and there was quite a bit of interest on YouTube as well compared to my other videos on how I'd made them and how I'd got on when I tried to sell them on eBay, where I failed. That's my most popular video, is me failing at selling art. And I made some more kind of off the back of that. I've got these three here, and then even more, these blue ones here. These are for sale on my Folksy shop. You can check out the link in the description if you're interested in these. The others I've not got around to putting on there yet. I'm still a bit of a beginner in catching up with everything that I need to do to be an artist who sells things and not just a man who paints in his kitchen. Anyway, as a sort of result of all that, I started thinking, well, it's all very well making ACEOs, but how about buying them? And some of the people who've watched the videos, I was quite surprised you could buy art on eBay, and also some people were interested in the prices, and some people thought things were too expensive or too cheap or whatever, and depending on whether you're an artist or a buyer, you might have different views on that. So I thought what I'll do is I'll try and buy some. So here in the UK, ACEOs are not as popular as in the US, and not many people necessarily even know what they really are, but they are available for sale on eBay and also on the shop where I sell stuff, Folksy, which is like a UK Etsy, a bit smaller, a bit more prettier, I think, nicer to spend time on. And so I went on both those websites to see what I could buy. There's a video somewhere on my channel where I do that. I go online and I buy the paintings. I put some bids on eBay and I'll just buy straight off of Folksy to ACEOs. Anyway, they've arrived, so I thought I'd show you what I got. I spent the grand total of, let me check, £27.18. So this is the art that you can buy in the UK for £27.18, and I'm really quite impressed with what I got. So let's do the Folksy ones first. So I brought two, and they were £2 each, and here they are. So if I'm smart, I'll photograph these and overlay each one now so you can see them in a bit more detail. I'm not going to name the artists from whom I bought. Not so much that I don't want them to have any sort of exposure or anything like that, more that they don't know I'm making this video and maybe they don't really want to have their names or information put on YouTube, so I'm not going to do that. Since I own the paintings, I am going to show you the paintings I own. So I do like these two, these are great, and I'm really impressed with the quality of them overall, and they all came in little plastic sheets, which I thought was quite a nice little touch, and I hadn't thought about myself. So when I sell, I will probably recycle these, and if I do manage to sell some myself in the future, I can do that too. And they're titled and signed on the rear, and yeah, they're really nice. So that was successful and very, very, very cheap. They also dropped in a nice little sort of bookmark painting of some flowers, and it is really interesting and amazing how much time and effort the artists have put into packing and sending and even writing little notes and stuff. They're so grateful to have sold their art, and it's quite humbling in some ways to get that and see that, and you feel quite special. Right, so let's move to eBay now. Now I've got two more off an artist here, like a semi-abstract sort of beach, ocean, cliffs type thing, and a watercolour of a riverscape. I think they're great too, they match together quite nicely. And I am going to try and think some ways to display all these. I think some kind of framing. If you have any ideas on that yourself, so let me know, down in the comments. Or do you like to keep them in folders and look at them and go through them, like maybe trading cards, like baseball cards, Pokemon cards, or do you display them? Let me know. I think I'm going to display mine. And then I got two more off of eBay. I think these were a couple of pounds each as well. Really, really nice. Beautiful little watercolours. I think all of them are watercolours. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all watercolours. And then the last one, this was the most expensive one, but it was still only £5.76, and it's ridiculous how good it is. It's a little landscape, a little waterscape maybe of low tide at Mevagissey. I think that's somewhere down in Devon, Cornwall way. Excuse me for not having my UK geography totally nailed in despite living here. And yeah, I just think that's amazing. This one I think I might put separately on itself when I display it, because the others are of a similar vibe, and this one's much more sort of maybe realistic, where these are maybe a bit more expressionistic. And I like all styles of art, it's no problem to me. I mean, I'm painting really quite abstract, but I do appreciate this style, and it blows me away how much detail is in that. And the fact that it only costs £5.76 is quite mind-blowing, really. Yeah, so all the art came really nicely sent, like within envelopes, but then within little envelopes themselves, and little storage mounts and things like that. So they're all sent beautifully. You know, if you do have any worries about buying art off of artists, I think obviously there's always a risk, isn't there? But I think you can be reasonably self-assured that whatever's going to turn up the artist is going to put a lot of effort into it, and you are going to get something that you really can enjoy. So I spent £27.18 to get all that art, and you know, if I put it up in a frame and everything, I think it's going to look really good. I'm really pleased with what I've got, and I'm really pleased to have started my own ACEO collection. And as an artist, I think it's one thing to make art. I think maybe also I should support other artists, and so that's my first personal foray into supporting artists. And I think it does raise an interesting question. I've had comments on some of the other videos from people who, you know, maybe find it a little upsetting that artists are selling their art for that price, that lower price. And it's definitely, if you think about the time and effort that has gone into it, it's definitely working out below minimum wage in terms of hours put in and the return for the art. And it did make me feel like that too, actually. I was a little bit sad in some ways that such beautiful little paintings, that I had been able to buy them so cheaply, and in some ways made me feel a little bit like I'd done something a bit wrong, really, by getting something so cheaply that was so beautiful. But then it's an interesting situation where I think two things can be true at once, because on the other hand, I think it just reflects the reality of what art is to most people. And the market, definitely in the UK, the market is weak for original paintings. People don't really think about buying original paintings, and the reality is most people are just paying for the roof over their heads, their car, their family, their food, and to buy art is a luxury. So in some ways it is nice that if somebody does want to go out and spend £2, £3, £5, that they can actually get some original art. That is a positive thing, I think, that people from all walks of life could, if they wanted to, afford original art. But on the same sort of note, it's kind of upsetting that the artists making the art are not necessarily getting the return they deserve. But I think for me, and I'm selling cheap too, and I know that some artists do get upset by people selling their art cheaply, but I'm just really responding to what the market is, and maybe to my position at the beginning of my journey as well. You know, I'm not an established artist, I'm a beginner artist who's just trying things out, and I think that has to be reflected in the price as well. But also, I'm doing it just because I enjoy painting and art, and you know, if you can make a few pounds back out of it, then it's got a little thrill to it. It's kind of exciting, and also it'd like help pay for materials and stuff. If it ever did turn into something where I'm making a full-on living out of it, that'd be amazing too. But I think to assume that that's going to happen, for me at least at this point, is naive. And I also think it's naive to think that you're going to get somebody maybe paying, like, really, for the amount of time and effort I put into these, you'd probably want £30 or £40 back to make it profitable over the year for the amount of time that you invest in these things. And it doesn't really seem realistic given what people have to do every day to survive and get on in the world, you know, and make sure that their families are safe and healthy. So it's been an interesting journey. I think you should try it, and if you are sort of wondering about whether or not you should buy some original art, I think this is a great little place to start, and I think it will warm you up inside a bit and make you feel good. And you know, you get some art that you can display, or you can put to one side, you know, keep it in a journal or a cupboard or something like that, however you like to do it. And I do think it's worthwhile, and it's been worthwhile for me to try. So yeah, if you are interested in buying these ones and you're in the UK, you can buy these ones. I'm in the process of sorting out my shop so that I can sell to the US, and I'll update you guys on that when that happens, because I think it might be interesting for people who are in a similar position, and then also for people who are interested in maybe buying the art as well. It's going to take me a little bit of a while to sort it out, but I think I can do it, and maybe I'm procrastinating a little bit too. Maybe I need to just get on with it, but we'll see. Hopefully soon I'll be doing that. Anyway, £27.18, that's the art I got. Quite amazing, I think, really. See you next time. Have a good day.